How's it going, everybody? Welcome to CM42 TV, and today is the day. Today we finally get to talk about Star Wars Episode number 9, The Rise of Skywalker, completely without worrying about spoilers. That is your warning, ladies and gents. If you haven't seen the film yet, don't watch this video. If you are watching this video and you've not seen the film yet, what are you doing with your life? If you haven't seen the film yet in general, what are you doing with your life? It's been taking over the world for, and people's opinions, whether it be for good or for bad or for indifferent. It definitely has been the focal point and the number one thing that has been discussed on social media and in people's lives in the last month and last couple of weeks of 2019. So yes, ladies and gents, Christmas time is Star Wars time, and on Friday I posted a video here on CM42 TV, a vlog style video, where I had some footage from, the midnight screening of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, the midnight premiere, as I like to say. It makes it sound very official. And it's basically just like clips of, being outside the cinema before the film started. I was getting our seats, I was collecting our tickets, that sort of thing. And then, the next day, me and my sister sat down and we gave initial thoughts, our first reactions to the Star Wars film without spoiling anything. And it's been a few days since then, obviously, nearly a week actually. And, it's still so much to digest. It's still not really sat there and really, just been, lodged into my head quite yet what exactly we saw. And that's always the case. And I've kind of noticed that I talk about Star Wars all year round here on YouTube or on my podcast or whatever. But when it comes to the new ones coming out, I very rarely sit down and speak about them. And I always say to myself, wish I could just do a Star Wars review. You know what I mean? And share my thoughts on the new film. But at the end of the day, I don't know how. I don't know how to put my thoughts into the one video. So what I've done this year, and since it's the last one, I've kind of went, and I've wanted to talk about this one more than others. And I've wrote down some points here, which I never do for videos. I've taken some notes and I've put some bullet points here, and I'll try and sort of run through these. But it would literally take me about an hour to cover everything. I don't really want it to be doing that on Christmas Eve. So I'm going to just run through whatever I can here. And let's just chat about The Rise of Skywalker for a bit. And before I get started as well, I just want to say this is going to be a very positive review. I know a lot of people were not a big fan of the film, which absolutely baffles me. And it's not so much a lot of people, it's just, you see reports and stuff. And do I believe that a lot of people take those reports and those critic reviews and are like, oh, well, that's verbatim and that must be the cool thing to do. I'm going to go that way. Absolutely. But obviously I understand people have opinions and stuff, but it absolutely blows my mind when people who, say for years and years they're massive Star Wars fans and they would give anything for an episode 9, and then that comes out and people are just raging with it. I just don't understand what the motives are and what the thinking was behind that. But again, it's like me coming in and talking about how much I loved the film here. A lot of people did, obviously I saw just as many people saying they loved the film. It was a very divisive film. I mean, I could say anything here, any of my opinions, and people could be saying, oh, what gives you the right to say that you liked it? It goes both ways. When The Last Jedi came out in 2017, it was a lot of mixed emotions as well, but I actually think it was leaning towards the more sort of negative side of things, which really confused me as well, because I loved that film, and I loved the risks it took. I loved how different it was. I loved how it wasn't anything what we were expecting. A lot of people said The Force Awakens was too similar to what they were expecting, therefore they didn't like The Force Awakens, so then they get the complete different end of the spectrum for Last Jedi and still didn't like it. People are just ridiculous and hard to please, obviously. And again, I mean, what am I talking about here? There's no way you can please everybody, and there's no way these films could have came out. They were doomed from the start. The sequel trilogy. And I'm actually going to go on record here and say that the sequel trilogy from The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker might actually be my favourite Star Wars trilogy, for the exact same reasons why I say The Force Awakens is my favourite movie of all time. I've beat it to death on the podcast and even on here on CM42 TV, talking about why Star Wars 7, The Force Awakens, could be my favourite movie of all time, and it's because they all came out in my lifespan. I was 18 when Force Awakens came out. I was like height of my Star Wars fandom, and I got all these new films, and I was studying acting at the time, and I was studying theatre and film, and then these films came out that were well acted, that were parts of my childhood, that were new stories and well done, and this music soundtrack, and I just fell in love with those three films. Nothing would have deterred me from those films. They could have been the worst films ever in terms of writing and acting and plot twists and stuff, and I probably still would have loved them. So I guess I'm kind of biased going into these ones, but the fact they're just great films, Anybody who tells me that The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, or The Rise of Skywalker is a bad film, I have absolutely no idea what to say, you know, because it's like, how can it be a bad film when you have all this great acting, all these amazing CGI effects, these plot twists that you never see coming, these continued story arcs for older characters, introducing new characters, and in this last film, The Rise of Skywalker, literally pretty much giving an ending to every single one of those characters. And whether it's an ending or not, it gave every single one of those characters that have been introduced over the past 5 years somewhat of a climax, somewhat of a full circle moment. Their story has been put into bed for now. You know, then you have your original characters like Chewbacca. First spoiler of the video, Chewbacca at the end of The Rise of Skywalker gets the medal that he does not receive at the end of A New Hope. The place, the cinema went mental when he got the medal. That's what I mean. Characters like Chewbacca that have been there since the start, and characters like Luke and Leia and 3PO and R2 still getting endings and still getting moments where you're like, oh well, that's the end of that story, that's beautiful, I'm happy that they were a part of my life. It's crazy that that's been done. This, you know, this was done by J.J. Abrams, who directed The Force Awakens, was changed to Rian Johnson for Last Jedi, and now we're back to, you know, JJ for this one. And I love both those directors. Just hold on a second. Oh, just getting a wee retweet from Chris Jericho there. I tweeted about completely off topic. I tweeted about Chris Jericho's podcast episode with Vince Russo. Vince Russo followed me on Twitter, and Jericho retweeted me. I'm on terms with Russo and Y2J. J.J. Abrams is back doing Rise of Skywalker, and I couldn't be happier because I thought, obviously I said that The Force Awakens is one of my favourite films of all time, if not my favourite. And, you know, I wasn't that bothered the fact that Rian Johnson took over. It could have been a new director this time, I don't know, but there was something really safe about JJ, knowing that he did all the Star Trek films and knowing that, you know, that he did such a good job, and I loved The Force Awakens so much. And I talked about Chewie getting his medal. In terms of audience reactions, this was my second midnight showing of a film like this. And the first one was The Force Awakens in 2015, and that was a buzz, you know, seeing that film, you know, in the midnight and getting that audience reaction and stuff like that. I'd never experienced anything like that before. The next time that I experienced that was for Avengers Endgame. I didn't see midnight, but I saw it on premiere day, full cinema, and still reactions, applauses and cheers and stuff like that. And then again, of course, for The Rise of Skywalker, you're getting the same thing, but it was a little bit more mild this time. And I think it was because the critic reviews had come out, and because people, again, were lukewarm on, you know, The Last Jedi, and they were thinking what we're going to get here. And again, people might not have enjoyed the film. There is a moment in the film that, not to start off on a negative or whatever, but there is a moment that I was literally like, I was sitting going, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, and then they did it. And of course I'm talking about Rey and Kylo right at the end. This is a spoiler-filled reaction, by the way, when they kiss at the end. And I was thinking at the time, I was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, because I think a simple head-to-head would have been cute. You know, a wee sort of embrace. You know, he could put his head on, or Rey could have put her head on Kylo's shoulder, something like that. I felt the kiss. I knew it was coming, and I just felt it's going to be forced. No pun intended. And they kissed, and I was like, oh no, that's going to get so many people angry. And there was people swearing at it behind me. You heard a lot of sighs and laughs and grunts behind me, and I can actually feel the energy in the room go, ugh, when it happened. And it was a beautiful moment, you know. It didn't matter anyway, because again, here comes another massive spoiler, when Kylo passes on and his spirit goes away into the spirit of the Jedi. It doesn't matter now, you know. It'd be different if they got married and, you know, Kylo lost his hand and ended up turning into, you know, Darth Vader .2. That didn't happen. He already kind of was. Kylo is now no more, and the spirit is within Rey, and I guess it was just like this nice moment that the two of them, who were destined to be together this whole time, whether it be because of the Force or because of family, or even if there was an attraction there, it was kind of put to bed. And of course it's a wee bit iffy because the attraction was always between Rey and Finn, which is another moment that I was reading about that people weren't happy with, when they're sinking in the sand and Finn is like, Rey, I never told you, and he doesn't say anything, and we don't find out what that is. And there's that's literally so Star Wars. Let's put that in there. Let's get people talking. You know, let's see what people come up with. And was he going to tell her that he loved her? You know, John Boyega tweeted the other day saying, no, I was not going to tell Rey that I loved her. Well, it could have been something like, I forgot to tell you that, you know, R2 is carrying something, or there's something in the oven I forgot to turn off, or, you know, I really like your hair. It could have been anything, do you know what I mean? And people are just speculating, saying, oh my God, you know, Finn didn't get a chance to tell Rey that he loved her, but she's went and kissed Kylo. What a slag. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, it's really interesting as well. The sort of Mark in me is like, I really wish, you know, he had said what he wanted to say. I really wanted to know what it was going to be. But then again, I like the fact that it's open. Like, what we can now speculate what Finn was going to say, and it could have been "I love you," or it could have been "You're my hero," or "Thank you," or something really nice. You know, we didn't get it, which is kind of annoying, but also kind of like so Star Wars. You know, a George Lucas thing to do. Another shout out goes to Oscar Isaac for the Rise of Skywalker. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. We want to talk about, you know, someone taking an opportunity. You know, in The Force Awakens, we get introduced very early on in the first scene, in fact, to a character called Poe Dameron. There's the phone going mental because Jericho's retweeted behind. So we get introduced to a character called Poe Dameron in The Force Awakens, and I remember when that film came out and I was thinking, you want to look up the word likeable in the dictionary, you see a picture of Poe Dameron. Such a likeable character. Then, you know, he was about to die. Like, he was supposed to die in The Force Awakens, but he said to JJ, all the other films that I've done, or 4 of the other films, I've died in the first 20 minutes. Can I just live through the film? And of course, then he takes charge in The Last Jedi, and in this film, he's just magnificent. Oscar Isaac steals the show, in my opinion, I think. Which is hard to do because I'm such a massive fan of Rey, the character, and Daisy Ridley, the actor. But just an amazing performance, especially when he's sitting next to the bed with Leia, and he doesn't know how to deal with the fact that he's going to be, you know, the leader and in charge of the general. And the scene kind of gets interrupted a wee bit because Lando comes in, and which was great to see Lando again, Billy D. Williams, nice to see him, and he comes in and kind of interrupts that scene, and he's like, we didn't know what to do either, kid. And if that scene had lasted a little bit longer, I think it just would have stole the whole movie, because there was this moment where he's sitting next to Leia, lying there, before Leia fades away. Like a bit like Avengers, I suppose. And he's sitting there and he's all emotional and he doesn't know what to say and he doesn't know how to deal with the fact. That was such a beautiful scene. I loved that. I loved the kind of dynamic between Rey and Poe not getting along all the time, but it's just two very strong, you know, opinion people, hard-headed people, both thinking their ways right, kind of bickering, and Finn kind of being in the middle and kind of picking Rey over Poe, but then he knows Poe kind of knows what he's doing because he's the best pilot. It was a lovely wee dynamic, especially between the three. And at the end, the three of them have this embrace. It's like our 3 new heroes. You know, they have this kind of group hug and they're all kind of greeting and they're all crying and all emotional. And it's feckin' beautiful, and it's one of the times in the film that you kind of get a bit choked up. There was no point in this film that I started crying. There was no point, or that I got really emotional. A few times that I felt emotional was from that last embrace. But the time that got me the most, my God, when we thought Chewie had been captured on the ship, and then the ship explodes because of the Force, and we think Chewie's dead, and Rey lets out this just, this scream, just screams Chewie, and it's like this, so from the heart, the stomach, the throat, she just saw Chewbacca has died. And it's just, and then I saw the film a second time, I've seen the film twice, and the second time round, it's one of those ones where, you know, you get goosebumps at things, but it was like when the goosebumps hit every part of your body up into your head, and you can feel the goosebumps under your hair and your back of your neck, and your arms are like, oh my God. One of the top, it happened in, you know, The Force Awakens as well, it happened in The Last Jedi, it happened in Avengers Endgame. I feel like these films are really, you know, linked this year between Endgame and The Rise of Skywalker. How I'm going to pick a film of the year between those two films, I will have no idea. Technically Endgame was a better film, but I'm more linked to The Rise of Skywalker, I don't know. But anyway, that feeling you get, you're just like, oh my God, came from when Rey screams Chewie because she thought that Chewie's dead. And then it's nice that 2 minutes later they kind of tell you, okay, Chewie's fine. And I wonder what the reaction would have been if Chewie had gone. Because a lot of people were saying that, you know, the Rise of Skywalker is quite messy and clumsy because it's like back and forth. One thing happens and then something else happens and then it doesn't matter in the end. But, you know, like one person dies, they're brought back to life, and then another person dies. I wonder if this was, you know, if Chewie had died just and that was it, if people would be raging about it, or if it would have been like, thank you Chewie sort of thing, but then he wouldn't have got his medal at the end, that beautiful moment at the end. So good. Kind of talking about that though, kind of talking about, you know, someone dying and coming back to life and then dying anyway. the bit that I was confused about while I was watching it, but kind of hit me after when the film finished, which you can never judge a film during it, you know what I mean? Like, I hate when you're watching a film in the house and someone comes in the room and goes, "What are you watching?" And you go, Star Wars or whatever. Is it good? I don't know, we're only half an hour in, do you know what I mean? I hate that judgment. But anyway, the bit where Rey and Kylo were having this fight on the Star Destroyer, and the rain's going everywhere and the weather's going mental. They're having the lightsaber fight, and they're both connected with the Force and stuff. And then Leia stands up from a post. She walks over, and she lies in the bed. She prepares her for her destiny, and just sacrifices herself to distract her son, distract Ben Solo, to the point where he drops his lightsaber and Rey stabs him. Now, I was thinking it's just because, that's what the best thing to do. But then thinking about it now, because Rey is a Palpatine, boo, spoiler, boo, because Rey's a Palpatine and she has the dark side in her, that's a dark side thing to do. Would Obi-Wan have stabbed someone like that? Would Yoda stab someone like that? I don't know, because she knows there's good in Ben Solo. She knows there's good in Kylo. But she doesn't, she stabs him anyway, puts the lightsaber right through him. He goes down, Leia's gone. They all sense it, which is a beautiful moment for Leia. I'll talk about that in a minute. Then she uses the Force power to transfer some of her life to Kylo. We learned that earlier on when she healed that mad creature thing that was keeping them trapped under the sand. That was the introduction. But actually, the introduction to that power was in The Mandalorian, the episode that came out on the day of the film. Didn't give us much time there, guys. But Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian uses that to heal the Mandalorian. That's the first time, technically, anybody in the Star Wars universe has used that power. That's when it was introduced. Now, of course, it's just this new power or whatever, and Rey has it too. She does that to Kylo, heals him, and Kylo goes back to life, and that's fine. But then it's like him realising what has to be done. And I was thinking, so what, Leia just sacrificed herself for nothing because now Kylo's back to life. But actually, what it means is, Princess Leia, General Leia, has sacrificed herself so that Ben Solo can re-emerge and that Kylo can see what has to be done, and he has to see that Rey is the one that has to go forward. She's the chosen one. She has all the Jedi within her. So Rey brings him back to life so he can see that, and then later on, when the two of them are just absolutely dead from the Emperor, they have hardly any life left. Rey has no life left because she has defeated the Emperor again, channeled the spirit of all the Jedi from the past. That scene, by the way, when you heard all the Jedi's voices, unbelievable. You want to talk about goosebumps? My God. Then Kylo's still alive. He comes back. He returns the favour with the Force, gives the rest of his life to Rey. He is the last Jedi. He is, the last Skywalker, I suppose. And he puts the last of the Skywalkers and last of the Jedi into Rey, sacrificing himself. They kiss and then he falls away. So it's like, at the end, you're kind of like, what's the point of all this? When you think about it, you think about him returning the favour, Leia's life, his life, the Skywalker life. They all know that Rey is the one. She has everything within her. It had to be done. It's just genius. It's beautiful. What a beautiful ending. Speaking of endings, I'm just rushing all over the place here because there's so much to talk about. But speaking of endings, that last scene, there's something special about that last scene, and I can't put my finger on it. When Rey goes back to Tatooine, she goes back to Luke's house. And the Jawas are there, and they're still doing their business, And she walks over and she buries the lightsaber, and she has the lightsabers, and she has her own one that's fucking yellow. My God, beautiful! It's this mad cool contraction where it's like a flick, it's just cool. And then there's this life form there, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's another life form! It's been so long. Like I would have been 30 odd years, 40 years, I don't know how long it would have been since there was someone that last there." And she's like, "Who are you?" And she goes, "I'm Rey Skywalker." And it's just like, then she looks over to the two moons, and or the two suns, and she's taken the name, and it's just like, there's something special about that scene, whether it be the music and just Rey as a character coming full circle, and that performance from Daisy Ridley, and that character arc of Rey. Who is she? We don't know. She's a scavenger. Her parents were no one, but then we find out her parents were killed by Chancellor Palpatine. And now, because, Chancellor Palpatine killed his kids because he knows the power that lies within his granddaughter, Rey. Rey returns, faces her grandfather, kills him, goes back there, with all the Jedi spirit inside her, takes the name Skywalker, looks off into the distance, and we have an ending. It's just like... And another thing is really weird as well. I know this is so random, but this is what the video's for. Another thing. So for so long, we've had this ending to the Star Wars series being Luke Skywalker and his dad, Darth Vader, getting redemption on the Emperor, killing him, which we ends up finding out that he's not dead, throwing him down this mad whatever, taking off his mask, and Vader dies in his son's arms, and it's this beautiful moment where it's like good has been restored. That's like the ultimate ending to cinema. You know, everybody knows the ending of Star Wars. That's what's happened, and we've had that for so many years since 1980. You know, not 1983, and that's been it. And now we have a new ending. You know, now we have a new Star Wars ending. You know, it's just this bonkers. It's actually, you know, the Emperor's still there. His granddaughters had to be raised, no pun intended, trained by Luke Skywalker to kill him, been passed on spirits by all the Jedi and Han Solo's son, and then go back to Tatooine and leave the lightsabers for a future generation. Crazy. That's now the ending of Star Wars, you know. Speaking of Han Solo's son, probably my favourite scene in the entire film was the scene between Ben Solo and Han Solo. Didn't expect Harrison Ford to pop up. So nice to see him. So good of him to take part. He appears and him and Kylo have this beautiful scene, and then Kylo says, "Dad," and he starts greeting, and he's going to say, "I love you," and he doesn't say it, and Hans goes, "I know." And I was like, oh my god. I was like, yes, what an amazing moment. He says, "I know," before he can say, "I love you," but we all know it was coming. And I know most diehard Star Wars fans will get that no bother, and some people won't, but it's still a beautiful moment, you know. It's still so in charm to the Han Solo character. Amazing. Then we have the Carrie Fisher stuff. So basically what happened was they put the Carrie Fisher scenes that they shot between 2015 and 2017 for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and like added her to the scenes, new scenes. How far cinema has come is unbelievable. And you've got scenes of her talking to Poe, and scenes of her talking to Maz Kanata, and 3PO and Rey, and there's this hug that Rey and Leia have, and it's obviously from The Last Jedi or whatever. And it's just been placed in this scene, and it's just beautiful. It's like, how did they manage to do that? And it does look a bit off at times, you know, and I wondered if I didn't know what the case was, if I didn't know that Carrie Fisher had passed away and she wasn't actually there. I passed away before the film was made. If I'd known that she wasn't there, I don't know. It was very beautifully done. It was a beautiful tribute. And I thought her ending was great. Her death was great. Beautiful, the fact that she is saving Rey, essentially. She's saving the galaxy, because she knows she has to sacrifice herself so her son can see what has to be done. It's beautiful, you know. She fades away, Han has faded away, Kylo's faded away. Her body literally fades away when Kylo dies. It is just a beautiful story, and I'm so happy that they were able to do that so she could be in that finale, you know. And I love the fact she was top billing, like when the actors come up in the end credits, Carrie Fisher's name's first. It's such a beautiful tribute, you know, our princess, you know, Carrie Fisher. Beautiful stuff, really, really good. Another point to make that I've noticed, that Kylo Ren, as I've talked about, the whole, you know, him being the last Skywalker and stuff, he's the hero of the whole thing. And I wondered in 2015 if I would have called that, you know. I probably did, because I did say from, you know, the whole sequel trilogy, this new generation of Star Wars films, that Kylo Ren was my favourite character, that Adam Driver's performance was just second to none, you know, and it's second to none. It's just beautiful, and it's almost too much at times, because it's too much. It's so well done, and you're so connected to it, and you're so emotional to it. You're like, oh my god, you are amazing. And then it ends up that he is the hero of the whole thing, you know. He saves Rey, and he sacrifices himself, and all that good stuff, which is cool. General Hux being the spy. I know a lot of people are thinking that was a bit random. You know, we spent 2 films building up General Hux as this mad hero, and now he's turning against Kylo Ren. But we're kind of rooting for Kylo Ren at this point, so we don't really know what we're supposed to think about Hux. However, what I will say is it gave Hux an ending. It gave the character of General Hux this full circle moment, you know, this come to Jesus meeting where, yeah, he did die. He was shot by Richard E. Grant, which was hilarious. I cheered, I fist pumped the air, I stood and cheered. It's Richard E. Grant. Those who get it, get it. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have any problem with it, you know. It was nice to see something happen to him, you know, General Hux, a new character that has his full circle moment. Speaking of new characters, we have, I can't remember the character's name, but kind of like Poe's ex. That's going to be really interesting to see where we go from that. Are we going to get some form of Disney Plus series for that, between Poe and this girl? And I loved at the end when they kind of lock eyes and Poe's kind of like, you want to do something? She's like, nah, which was funny. And also the character of Jana, who was great. I thought she was really, really cool. She was the girl on the horses that kind of forms a new bond with Finn. Finn being the player, dealing with Rose and Ray and Jana, getting all the girls, man. He's a handsome guy. Another thing, Rose didn't have anything in this film. And when I first saw The Last Jedi, I was feeling quite lukewarm on her. I didn't know how I felt about the Rose character, but I kind of was hoping for something else, you know? That's something I didn't particularly love about The Rise of Skywalker, because The Last Jedi ended with Rose kissing Finn and basically telling her that he loved her, or telling him that she loved him. And, you know, they didn't really get anything in this film. She was in it a few times, had a few nice scenes and stuff. But I thought she would be more dominant than she was, which I thought was a shame for the actress, because I actually thought she was alright. But yeah, Jana, and then Jana has this moment with Lando, right at the end. And Lando wants to kind of know her background, and she's like, I don't know, because she was a stormtrooper. And Lando says, let's find out. And I wonder if that'll be a Disney Plus series, the story of Jana. Could it be his daughter or a granddaughter or niece or something? All the families are fucking interlocked in Star Wars. Let's see, the music of the film, John Williams, I'm so happy. I know this sounds quite morbid, but I'm so happy John Williams is still alive to make the 9 films worth of music, you know? Just, we sometimes take for granted that we're seeing these films, but we also take for granted we get to experience the soundtrack. We are never going to experience that opening crawl with that opening song in a cinema again like that. And that's emotional, you know, that's sad. And it's just like, maybe one day we'll get something along the lines of that. Another composer that has created so many legendary, you know, soundtracks like John Williams has, you know. So amazing stuff, a great soundtrack for this one. There's something about that Rey theme, you know, that is just next level for me. I just don't know what it is. That Rey theme is special. It gives me chills. It makes me think of my time at college and that time in my life where The Force Awakens came out. It's going to represent this time in my life in the future, in 20 years' time, when I hear that Rey theme watching these films. I'm going to get emotional, because that's like a big part of my life, just that song, you know. So, good stuff. Let's see. Seeing the Emperor again was a bit, you know, okay, sure. You know, again, we kind of know the ending of Return of the Jedi. That could have been the ending of the Emperor, no questions asked. But I suppose for the whole story, we had to kind of bring him back and stuff. And my mate Fraser was basically saying he was expecting that to be bigger. You know, like he was just there in the first scene. You know, he was expecting that reveal to be massive, you know, but I guess we kind of knew by seeing the poster and the fucking trailer, you know. It was the Rise of Skywalker. A couple more notes here. Impact of this trilogy, again, changing the whole ending. I think I pretty much covered everything. The Ewoks and Jakku at the end, where you kind of saw, you know, peace had been restored and stuff. Rey was going to Tatooine, and you kind of saw the Ewok standing there, which I believe was played by Warwick Davis' son, which is awesome. And also, you saw Jakku, the same shot from The Force Awakens with the Star Destroyer being there in a wreck, you know. I also seen the Death Star all destroyed, and seeing Rey on the Death Star was crazy. I've definitely missed out a few things because there's so much, as I said, to digest, but what an amazing experience this has been. You know, just not only seeing this film, but having that trilogy just to enjoy. You know, it's crazy. I saw the first film, you know, I saw The Rise of Skywalker for the first time at midnight, and then a couple of days ago I saw it 4DX. If you don't know what the 4DX thing is, it's 4D experience, where you go and you get this big seat, which you put your, so it's like a roller coaster seat, you know, you're sitting there and you've got your feet up here, and the chair moves when action in the film moves, and you smell what the characters are smelling, and you feel wind on the back of your neck and at your feet, and you get rained on if it's raining in the film, and the temperature of the cinema changes depending on what you're seeing, so you were immersed in the film. And my sister and I saw Frozen 2, a film much like Star Wars, Frozen 2, 4DX a few months ago or last month, and I was thinking, I'm going to do it for Star Wars. I'm going to experience this 4D experience in a Star Wars like film, and I'm going to have to say now, it was a bit much. I was expecting it to get assaulted by the chair. You get punched in the back by the chair if there's fighting going on. It was a bit much. I had a bag of popcorn, and when the Falcon was flying, there was like wind in the cinema, and the popcorn started flying everywhere. Which is a true story, and I had like an icy drink, and I was like kind of shaking everywhere. It was a bit much. I was a bit sore afterwards. Didn't take away from the film. You know, I always say seeing a film the second time sort of riches your experience with the film, but it was such a beautiful film, such a beautiful ending. I know a lot of people are kind of being dafties about it, I guess. Without, you know, I don't want to judge anybody for not liking a film, but if you didn't like the film, I don't know why. I don't know why. Because what, Rey and Kylo kissed? Because there wasn't answers to things in The Last Jedi? Because it changed the ending of Star Wars? I don't know. With that great acting and that great music and those beautiful tributes and that great writing and these great special effects and these physical props and stuff, I don't know what anybody was wanting. I don't know what anybody was asking for or expecting. That is Star Wars. It was just an absolutely beautiful film, a beautiful ending to this beautiful trilogy. And my God, we do not deserve Star Wars. Nothing compares to it. For the past month, I've had Sky Movies, and there's obviously they have Sky Star Wars. Just like they have with anything, whether it be Sky Star Wars, Sky Avengers, Sky Harry Potter, Sky whatever, you know. And it's just been so lovely to have a few Star Wars films just on in the background, you know. And watching some of the things, like we watched the Phantom Menace, the first half an hour of the Phantom Menace, and I was thinking, this film isn't nearly as bad as people say it is. It's actually quite clever. And then moments before this video, I watched the last half hour of Revenge of the Sith, which is one of my favourites, especially that last half hour. Just an amazing scene between Obi-Wan and Anakin, which is daft now watching it and stuff, but it's so important, and Revenge of the Sith is such an important film. I've got the Clone Wars recorded. I'm going to start watching the Clone Wars. I'm going to watch the Clone Wars film, the series, and then I'm going to watch Rebels. Never seen the animated series, but they're so critically acclaimed. I'm going to check them out. I'm going to get some opinions on that. Maybe I can talk about them here. Who knows? But yes, thank you very much for enduring half an hour of my Star Wars chat. Again, I could have done an hour, but it was kind of a messy review, but that's how I feel. That's how it was going to go anyway. And yeah, I love Star Wars. Everybody should love Star Wars. And if you didn't love The Rise of Skywalker, more power to you. I feel bad for you for not allowing yourself to fucking enjoy this film. Because my God, what an amazing film, what an amazing experience, and a good shout for Film of the Year 2019. Thanks very much everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed Star Wars and this video. I'm on social media tweeting about Star Wars literally all the time. At CM42TV on Twitter and Instagram. And until next time folks, thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.